going the complexity load from going to playing a rogue to playing someone with this kind of kit. The difference in play experience, you're going from playing like a first-person shooter to a like a StarCraft level top-down minion control game, right? It's RTS versus MOBA. The difference in amount of actions per minute you're taking as a wizard is vast whenever you compare these two things.
Yeah, well, I probably wouldn't play this,
Ah,
but if I was playing the subclass, that's what I would be doing. Hello, friends. Robert Pepin here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we are going a little bit further down the wizard path with the Conjuration Wizard.
whoa, there's a bit or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I created something out of thin air. I pulled a rabbit out of a hat. That's kind of what this is, right?
yeah, kind of lame.
Lame. Tricks are what I can't say that this early in the video will get demonetized if we were monetized. So quote Joe Bluth, go watch the rest of development. He'll tell you what he thinks about magic tricks and all that kind of good stuff, right? That's his
Yeah,
profession.
something we've
I mean,
both seen.
that's
Amazing.
true, it's a good one. I know it's quite crazy. I like this little option. I think it's relatively simple, and I think if you want a digestible wizard option that gives you some cool stuff to do, I do think this is that. It's not overtly powerful compared to the rest of them. I mean, you're still a wizard, so you're
Yeah,
getting all the things that make wizard busted. That's not your subclass. It's normally the spells along the way you get. But if you want some like fun, unique little abilities, I really think this hit does a great job of giving you those. It's also like
sure.
out of all the options we've read, this is one of the shortest as far as a 5-feature subclass, right?
Yeah, this is remarkably short.
Yeah. We start with 2 second level features. All of the original schools within the PHP, although that are related to like a school of magic, get their savant for their school. So this is Conjuration Savant. Beginning when you select the school at second level, the gold and time you must spend to copy a Conjuration spell into your spellbook is half.
Yay.
To this day, I've never seen anyone use these features. Full stop. So I think in most tables you can write it off, and at tables that care about it are doing the full 110% all 5th edition perfect rules. Everyone's a rules lawyer. Maybe you'll rate this slightly higher and try to deliberately not seek out conjuration spells so you can add them to your spellbook cheaper. Okay. The real feature you get here is minor conjuration, though. So starting at second level, when you select this school, you can use an action to conjure up an inanimate object in your hand or on the ground in an unoccupied space you can see within 10 feet. The object can be no larger than 3 feet on a side and weigh no more than 10 pounds, and its form must be that of a non-magical object you've seen. The object is visibly magical, radiating dim light up to 5 feet. The object disappears after an hour when you use this feature again, or it takes or deals any damage. There's no limit to this. You can just
Yeah,
make as many little conjured baubles as you'd like. This is kind of like having most of the equipment section of the player's handbook on you at all times. The more creative you get, the more studious you are, the more you pay attention to have a character like deliberately take time to examine items. I think the better this feature gets. It's great at clothing keys. It's great at doing off as far as just like, I really could use some rope right now. You got 10 pounds worth of rope. I really could use, a rock. You got a rock. You got a lock. You got a whatever you would need in the moment. And that can be a lot of fun to play with. You could also, because you're a wizard, just opt to forget about it and never use it. And honestly, you're still playing a wizard, so you'll probably be fine. But I do think there's some cool, fun ways to play D&D with this, especially in the low tiers, that'll make it pretty rewarding. This is like ideal at second level as far as how powerful this kind of feature can be, I think. And it's why normally we rag on like Fabricate and stuff that do something very similar to this, because like by that point, magic replaces any need for this kind of crap. But at second
right.
level, mundanity is a real thing you're actually kind of still stretched to get. You don't have all the equipment you necessarily want. You don't have 500 gold pieces that make all the mundane equipment that you could get easily accessible. And this is a useful feature in that tier, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking how would I use it? I'm going back to um you know Indiana Jones Last Crusade, making a bunch of I used minor illusion or something to create a bunch of grails, and then I make the Holy Grail with this, and then people are reaching for the fake ones. Oh, it's just an illusion, but they get this one and it's real, and then an hour later it's gone, and I laugh at them.
So, and in this example, you're the Knights Templar playing a
Yes.
prank on people
Yes.
10,000 years in the future for a giggle.
Yes.
Ah, great.
Okay.
Excellent practical
We
use of this
understand
kind of
each other.
feature.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, the exact kind of Bob answer I expect at this point. Uh, but you're not usually
Well,
high on these features, right?
no, I say it every time. This is going to be, something for somebody with more imagination than I have right now. Um, yeah, my holy grail was the one thing I could think of. But yeah, I mean, if you need some rope, sure. If you need a hammer, okay.
I
Uh,
like that it makes it visibly magical, and I think you can do some clever things even with like some idiot goblins you stumble across, right? Where you can be like, this is a holy rock, and you just have a rock that the conjurer made, and the goblins don't see magic much everywhere else, so they go, oh my goodness, a holy rock, and then you can use it as a fun little persuasion bit. I can see that being a really easy on-ramp to some truly stupid, very D&D conversations.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's perfectly great. I like this thing a lot.
All right,
Uh,
what else do we
another
have?
So at 6th level, you get benign transportation. You can use your action to teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. Alternatively, you can choose a space within range that is occupied by a smaller medium creature. If it's willing, you both teleport, swapping places. Once you use this feature, you can again until you finish a long rest. Or you cast a conjuration spell with a first level or higher. I love this thing. I
Yeah,
love benign transportation. It's the reason I want to play the subclass more than any other. It's just so neat. You just get to switch with
yeah,
somebody. You go somewhere with Misty Step, you get them in there, and then you Misty Step back up if you want to. Or you can just like get up there yourself, teleport someone back up there, and then use a third one to get up there by just spending first level conjuration spells. Like the way this encourages play patterns pretty neat. I like that this gives you a real payoff for using conjuration spells that isn't just like more damage or spell slots back. It's a cute little teleporty ability. I like that a lot, right?
yeah. You could use this with your familiar, huh?
You could. It's a willing, smaller, medium creature. Oh, they might be tiny.
Oh,
Because it
yeah.
doesn't say medium or smaller, right? It says smaller, medium.
Smaller, medium, yeah.
Yeah, so never mind. You probably can't use this with familiars because I think they're tiny. But you can use it with other small, medium creatures. Again, party members. Summons is another one that's going to likely happen, right? If you've got some mephits running around or a beast or whatever, summon Shadow Spawn that's got a fly speed or something, you could use this with it in some pretty fun ways. And notably, like the
Yeah.
conjuration spells, the list is incredible. It's Find Familiars one you're not going to be casting a lot, but it's going to be on your sheet. But you've got like Ice Knife is an easy damage option if you want a low tier damage option. You've got Grease and Fog Cloud, which are both personally reasonable. And as you get to the upper tiers, the conjuration spells are like the really busted stuff, like Conjure Animals, like Conjure Woodland Beings, like Conjure Minor Elementals. The summon stuff I think is in this department too. Yep, summon Aberration, summon Construct, summon Shadow Spawn. So you'll get like you're not going to find it to be difficult to get uses back out of this thing. I don't
Right.
think.
Yeah, this is a really good feature.
It's
I don't
also
know. Like,
wonderfully simple, right?
yeah, I don't know when I would use it. I mean, like, I'm not casting a conjuration. Well, maybe I'll cast some lower level conjuration spells to use this, but
Yeah.
more often I think I'm just going to be casting those spells anyway because they're great. And yeah, I guess I'll teleport too.
Yeah, you get this use back, right? That's pretty fine.
Mm,
This does a great job of getting you out of danger and putting the barbarian in somewhere, right? Like I love the idea that the
right.
wizard gets they get the drop on the wizard, and the barbarian's like, I got your back, and you just swap places with them, and now there's a raging, 8.5 foot tall Goliath with a great sword where there used to be a 4 foot tall halfling or gnome wizard. That's great fantasy, right? That looks amazing.
Sure.
Then you put a shadow spawn next to them, get your teleport back, and can get them out of danger in the future. I think it's neat. The action cost to use it is very high. I will say this is not easy to use in combat. But if you already have summons and stuff up, you're not losing that much out on your turn. Obviously, you'd rather be casting other first level or higher spells, but like, given that you're rewarded for using already busted stuff, I'm glad this isn't a bonus action because it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
This is pretty fair at this rate, actually. I think. 10th
Agreed.
level, we get probably the most powerful feature here. It's really short. It's called Focus Conjuration. While you're concentrating on a conjuration spell, your concentration can't be broken as a result of taking damage.
Wow.
That's it. That's the whole feature.
That
Boring as
that's
sin,
enough.
but really good.
Yeah.
This makes all of a sudden the play pattern of how do you get rid of a conjure woodland beings of kicking the crap out of the caster all that much harder. So yeah, this is powerful. This is obnoxious. This is a DM is just such a huge headache. Where if I wasn't having the conversation before with the conjurer to be like, hey, can we tone down the pixie usage? Can we tone down the minor elementals conjuring? At this stage, I had to be like, okay, we have to have a chat because there's got to be some give or take here. We got to have some limiting factors. I need to be able to engage with you some way. For us, the rest of the party's going to feel like they're not doing anything, right? It has nothing really to do with like my ability to challenge that character can still exist, but to challenge them at a fair rate alongside the other like 6 characters or 4 characters or whatever. It's going to be 90% of things going at the wizard, and 10% of things is what the rest of the party gets to deal with. If this is the kind of power they get to play with.
Yeah, this is I mean, like I said, powerful, but it's one of those things that I'm surprised you didn't bring it up. It's kind of boring.
Oh, boring is sin. I think
yeah.
I had led with that.
Oh, did you? All right.
Yeah. I again, the reason that I like this option is if I were pointing a new player to it, especially a new player that's using the new summon spells out of Tasha's and stuff, I think Focused Conjuration with the summon spells is actually pretty fair. It's not nearly as obnoxious and oppressive. It just guarantees your Shadow Spawn stays up a little bit longer. It guarantees your Summon Fae or whatever stays up a bit longer. And the other features are pretty easy to digest and easy to play with. And at the time you're getting 10th level, you're getting the more complex spells. So the load that the players like has to learn, I think, is not nearly as heightened whenever as it would be with like Twin Enchantment or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. There are other more complex features at the top end that make things like murky. This is gonna be a great new player option, I think, for the first wizard. First step into conjuration spells, I think, is how I would reframe that. Because you do have to buy into conjuration, which is the most complicated kind of casting.
Oh yeah, I'm reading ahead at the next feature, and wow,
It's not long.
This. Nope.
Yeah, it's called durable summons. So at 14th level, any creature you summon or create with a conjuration spell has 30 temporary hit points. That may not sound like a lot until you realize you get 16 of them. Yeah. So the other way that DM could engage with them is AoE damage, and now you go, make sure you're hitting at least a 7th level spell to knock those down still, because they're going to surround at least one giant AoE.
Oh man, that's like you got this, and if you have somebody with like some kind of healing or other one of those kind of spells that like aid or something, or no, something that will affect everything in an area. Mm-hmm. It's just bananas.
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of thing where you can just do a Munchkin cheesy army of not infinite, but huge amount of hit points for the a 7th level spell and 2 other party features, right? Something like Inspiring Leader. You summon a bunch of elementals, you give them a big old speech, and I don't know if that gets 10 HP. That gets 10 HP, that's not a good example, but like if you find some other way to give them more at max HP on top of what they're working with, you can be looking at a giant ball of death that is just a little bit more hard to kill in the most annoying possible way. Like 30 is just a big enough number where I'm like, ugh. Because now I can't take them out in a single breath weapon. Now I can't take them out in a single, area effect swipe, fireball, right? Yeah, I have to spend a real amount of resources dealing with their smaller amount of resources. And then they just spend another 4th level spell and get 8 more of them, right? Like, oh my god.
And you can't just hit the wizard and hope to break the concentration because of the focused conjuration.
Yeah, if you drop them, if they're unconscious, I believe conjuration goes away. Not positive about that. I have to recheck the rules. But that's how I would mitigate it, is killing the wizard. Like, if we're going to play a really high-stakes, powerful game, you best believe the tactics are the assassin damage goes directly to the wizard if they have no way for me to drop it otherwise. Because I need to. Because it reduces the amount of enemies my enemies have to face by, like, 32.
Right.
Yeah. But if we recontextualize this, and then instead of saying it's stable to the most busted spells in the game, the conjure spells, if we staple it to a summon Strato Spawn, if we staple it to a summon Construct, that's pretty fair, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, honestly, kind of underwhelming. But again, you're at higher level casting, you're getting powerful stuff anyway. I think I used to really think this option didn't have a home in this game because all it did was reward you for casting the most broken spells. And, like, that, it just teaches players, if I'm playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, if I'm Wizard, I'm just going to be the best character because I take all the best spells. I do think now you could have the play conversation to be like, hey, I know you're playing Wizard for the first time. I think I would like to steer you away from the summon 8 really busted things, summon 16 really busted things, and instead take one summon, and that summon is meaningfully improved. You do get features that synergize with it. You can still go down that route and explore this kind of build without it cracking the table balance in half. And that's why I think it now has a home, where before it was just a giant headache past 10th levels.
Well, I mean, yeah, you have that option. You can do that. You can do it the nice way, but I feel like if you're playing this, it's because you want to do the busted crazy stuff.
I think there's a reasonable amount of people that would play it for the 2nd and 6th level option. I'm one of those people, to be honest with you, right? Like, I really love both those abilities. I think you don't need to necessarily engage beyond that to play a character that has a lot of fun here, right?
I'd play it for Conjure Woodland Beams.
You would be the enormous headache.
Yes.
Okay. The complexity load from going to playing a rogue to playing someone with this kind of kit, the difference in play experience, you're going from playing like a first person shooter to a like a StarCraft level top-down minion control game, right? It's RTS versus MOBA. The difference in amount of actions per minute you're taking as a wizard is vast whenever you compare these two things.
Yeah, well, I probably wouldn't play this,
Ah,
but if I was playing the subclass, that's what I would be doing. But I wouldn't be doing
I
that
think
because I don't
most of
want
the
that
viewers
kind
of
of
this channel share that
responsibility.
opinion.
Yeah.
Still,
Oh,
I do think this deserves a solid A. All the
oh
features
yeah.
are good. All the features can be, but the top end features can be busted. I think it's a little bit boring, but there's enough complexity in the lower tier features that I'm okay getting a kind of like boring do nothing feature like Focus Conjuration. The top end features don't need to be that exciting for me whenever I'm getting 6th, 7th, 8th level spell slots, and they are powerfully going alongside the rewarding play pattern this establishes. I think this is a really great option. I really think if you want to take it, though, I'd have the conversation with your DM about Conjure Woodland Beings,
Yes.
Conjure Minor Elementals, all of the things that summon more than one of a monster. Have that chat, because it's going to wildly vary your character's power, and I genuinely don't think most tables playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition have a easy time incorporating someone using that kind of power, just because
Yeah.
it's so far removed from what a fighter can do. It's so far removed from what a paladin can do. It's nowhere near what like rogues are doing round to round. They're doing one attack that might hit for 8d6 plus 2 damage or plus 12 damage. You're doing 16 attacks that have cones that come with full spell casting repertoires that make them look like one pixie makes a rogue look like, what am I doing playing at the same table, and you get 8 of them, right? So
Yeah.
like, it's definitely not something you can just dive into and expect everything to work without having there be some tension.
Absolutely. And yeah, and the upper level features are, boring, but they are like crazy powerful. So easy A, no question. All right. Well, that was Conjuration Wizard. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.